And this is getting crazy real quick. It's getting sticky real quick. The WNBA refs information has been leaked. There could be potential betting going on, a potential scandal. We don't know what's going on. We don't know who to trust.
Something does not feel right. Not just because Clark is getting hit, not just because she is taking contact, not just because she is constantly ending up on the floor, but because the whistle never seems to match what everyone is watching.
Clark and Alyssa Thomas getting a flagrant foul assessed to her. We showed that what happened here. I mean, if you look at the still frame, it looks horrible, but if you watch it in real time, it kind of looked like it happened accidentally. What are you thinking about this?
Well, you can understand how maybe the refs overlooked it and didn't see the foul as it happened. It thought just what you thought. But then when you slow it down, it's really hard to ignore. Look, Caitlin Clark is just an unprecedented, as her coach called her, a generational star. She's hitting threes. She's dishing the ball. She's scoring every single night. She is making this league far more successful than it ever has been. And I know because I was a play-by-play announcer for the WNBA on network TV for the first 3 seasons, along with Reggie Miller. And so it's seeing new heights, and it's thanks to her.
Well, there's no question she gets roughed up a lot.
She's got to get protected, John. She's got to get protected.
Yeah.
And now, this story has gone from bad calls to something much darker, because WNBA refs are suddenly at the center of a shocking betting scandal conversation. And Caitlin Clark fans are absolutely exploding.
But this information has been put out. We got to get into it, man. The WNBPA has also failed to protect and represent Caitlin Clark. That is the Women's National Basketball Players Association. The Players Association have not stood behind Caitlin Clark after the brutal attack by Alyssa Thomas. This is all crazy. Christine Brennan went in on it. But we got to get into these refs being identified, man. There's potential scandals happening.
For months, the debate around Clark has been simple. Is she being protected? Is she getting the same whistle as everyone else? Are defenders being allowed to play her differently because she is Caitlin Clark? But now, fans are asking an even bigger question. What if these missed calls are not just mistakes? What if this is not only about bad officiating? What if there is something happening behind the whistle? That is why this story is so dangerous for the WNBA. Because once fans stop trusting the refs, they stop trusting the product. And once fans stop trusting the product, every call becomes suspicious.
What's going on? We are seeing multi-million-dollar NBA players with 8-figure contracts getting arrested for betting and gambling and all of this stuff. You seen the Brendan Swordsby kid at Texas Tech got put out because he was betting on games. How do we know that these refs that are clearly sabotaging Caitlin Clark, how do we know they're not betting? We don't know anything. You can't put anything past any of these people, but these are the referees. They've been identified. Okay, take a look at these guys here.
Games, missed calls, and strange whistle patterns.
WNBA refs, and they're all in question, all of them, because you don't know what their motives are. We've seen games where Caitlin Clark shoots 0 free throws, but we've seen games where Breanna Stewart and Asia Wilson will shoot 20+ free throws in a game. How do we know they're not prop betting? How do we know? We don't know nothing. Hold on, man. Y'all think it's a game. Take a look at this here. How do we know? 9-year NBA veteran Malik Beasley has been indicted on federal charges for gambling related to a sports betting scheme, such as point shaving and prop bets. His attorney, Steve Haney, tells ESPN the government is coordinating a voluntary surrender of Beasley this week. How do we know these cheating WNBA refs ain't in on it? Look at some of the stuff he was doing. Look at some of the stuff he was doing to make sure he get the overs and unders.
Which ref ignored the contact? And which ref keeps showing up when these games get ugly? That is where the betting angle becomes so explosive, because sports does not live in an innocent world anymore. Betting.
Look, 4 games Malik Beasley allegedly shaved points. Bucks versus Cavs, Bucks versus Hornets, Bucks versus Clippers, Bucks versus Nets. The group of bettors took the over on Beasley's rebounds and cash for the Clippers game. The scheme eventually didn't work out after he couldn't hit the under on his rebounds in the Nets game. Here's Malik Beasley getting a fourth rebound and with just 2 seconds left in the game against the Clippers. He had an over and under of 3.5 bet prop that day. So if somebody like Malik Beasley, who had an 8-figure these referees aren't getting paid 8 figures. They're not making 8 figures. If he was getting 8 figures and this is what he was doing, how do we know these shady, shiesty refs? How do we know they're not doing something?
Driving into a wall at full speed with Caitlin Clark. They now have a commemorative poster of 30 years of the WNBA. Caitlin Clark's not on it. And it's not just like an ode to the veterans that started the league. Paige Beckers and Angel Reese are on it. Caitlin Clark's not. You guys, when she broke into the league, you moved her road games to bigger arenas to accommodate the fans. You were flying the last 6 rows of Southwest Airlines until she made such an impact, you pivoted to private jets.
And suddenly the technical foul comes fast. That is what drives fans crazy, because they are not just watching physical basketball. They are watching what feels like a double standard.
Continues to work through what many perceive as consistency issues, especially when it comes to games being officiated, Lisa.
Well, officiating is tough. I don't know if anybody's ever even tried to officiate. It's not the easiest game. It's one of the most thankless jobs you can do. But in this particular situation, I thought that the last official should have been able to catch that. I was actually watching this game and I was like, oh, wow, that was a bit much. So in that moment, I thought that the official missed the call. I'm not surprised that the league went back and fined Alyssa Thomas. But I think at the same time, it's tough to think that official would have missed that they didn't have a replay on it. That was tough to me. And I think overall, the league's got to do better. The officials have got to do better, but also players. Players have to clean it up. We used to play in a way that you protected one another. Yeah, I want to play physical. I want to play hard, but I'm not out here trying to hurt you. If I was out there for a loose ball and it was Renee down there, yeah, I'm going for the ball. But if I accidentally punched Renee or hit her in some kind of way, maybe the play goes on, but I help her up. I help her up. You know what I mean? Just out of the like, dang, my bad. You know, so I think that part is important too, the reaction. Maybe if Alyssa Thomas would have even turned like, dang, my bad, I didn't mean to hit you like that. It's a different thing, but that's not what happened. And so I think that the league got it right. But I think overall, Coach Tibbetts is correct. Everything, consistency is important. It needs to be cleaned up for all players, regardless of what their accolades are. None of that part matters. It matters about protecting these players, no matter which team, which position, when they sub in, the start of the game to the end of the game. Every player deserves the same type of protection.
Other players can yell, other players can clap, other players can get in a referee's face. And sometimes nothing happens. But when Caitlin Clark differently, now they are wondering why. Is it bias? Is it pressure? Is it incompetence? Or is it something more serious?
Overall, officiating has been a universal issue this year. And that's not the goal of any league, but this is the reality. And when you think about the imperative to call more fouls, we're seeing the highest scoring season ever in WNBA history. That's largely because they're calling more fouls, right? Games are no longer 2 hours, they're 2.5 hours long. So you're seeing that there's an imperative to call more fouls, but there's still a lack of situational awareness or a lack of control of the game by the refs. You can call fouls, but is it dictating how one game is played from the other? Because you can see one game where one is super physical and one where people are dropping 50. There's been a lack of consistency, and this creates a problem in magnifier matchups. And this is a magnifier matchup when you look back at it. Alyssa Thomas, Caitlin Clark, both dominant players, but Alyssa plays on the edge. I know her. And Caitlin sometimes embellishes at times in certain instances. And so when you have a scrum, like you said, there needs to be a hyper-vigilance, but also this created a position where the league is now forced to be reactive. And instead of having a control of not just calling fouls, now the league is reacting and doing something that it rarely does on a non-call and instituting a suspension. And to me, that was unique.
And that is the problem for the WNBA, because at some point, the reason almost stops mattering. If fans cannot tell the difference between incompetence and corruption, the league already has a crisis. Look at the Alyssa Thomas situation. Clark takes dangerous contact. The game keeps moving. The league reviews it later. Then suddenly the play is serious enough to become a major punishment, and fans are left asking the obvious question.
How do we know they're not doing something wrong? The identities are right here. We're going to be watching. We're going to be paying attention because a lot of y'all refs have put this bullseye on your own back. Y'all refused to. Y'all gave Caitlin Clark a tech, but then I watch Kayla McBride clapping you guys' face. No technical foul. I watched Paige Beckers just recently clap at you guys. Taunting opponent. No technical foul. None. The WNBA finally reviewed one play for Caitlin Clark, and all of a sudden a new smear campaign is on in protection of Alyssa Thomas. This is all craziness, man.
This even worse, because Clark is not just some random player. She is the player who helped bring massive attention to the league. She brought ratings. She brought ticket demand. She brought new fans. She brought sponsors, headlines, and national conversation. But when she keeps taking contact, fans feel like the people who should defend player safety are nowhere to be found. That silence makes the whole thing feel even uglier, because the WNBA wants Caitlin Clark's spotlight. It wants her audience. It wants her impact. But fans are asking if the league actually wants the responsibility that comes with protecting her. And that is why this story is exploding. It is not only about gambling. It is not only about refs. It is not only about Caitlin Clark. It is about whether the WNBA can be trusted at the exact moment more people are watching than ever before. Because this is the worst possible time for fans to start questioning the integrity of the game. The league finally has attention. It finally has momentum. It finally has a player who can pull casual fans into women's basketball. And instead of talking about great league credibility problem, and if the WNBA does not fix it fast, the scandal might become bigger than the season itself.